Have you ever woken up after like a full 8 hours and you still just feel kind of off?
Yeah,
Yeah, like you didn't get a good night's sleep.
absolutely.
We always talk about how much sleep we're getting, but what about how we're sleeping?
Right.
Like, what if the position that we're sleeping in could actually be impacting our health in ways that we don't even realize,
Yeah, that's a great point.
especially when it comes to gut health?
Yeah. We often think of sleep as just this like passive activity, but it turns out our bodies are still very much active, and how we're positioned can actually really impact those processes, especially in the gut.
Right. So today we're going to do a deep dive into how different sleep positions can actually affect our bodies and in particular our gut health.
That's right.
And we've got some expert insights and a couple of interesting scientific studies that we're going to be referencing.
Looking forward to it.
So our mission today is basically to lay out all the pros and cons of the most common sleep positions that you're probably doing without even thinking about it.
Sure.
And hopefully arm you with the knowledge to make some changes that will help you feel better every day.
Yeah, I love it.
So let's start with the one that seems to be getting the most attention lately for its gut-friendly reputation,
Okay.
and that is sleeping on your left side.
Sleeping on your left side.
So what's the deal with that?
So this is kind of interesting because our organs aren't symmetrical, right?
Right?
And they actually interact with gravity differently depending on how we're sleeping.
Okay.
So when you sleep on your left side, you're basically using gravity to help your digestive system work better.
Okay.
You're giving it like a little assist.
So it's like you're optimizing your body's natural plumbing system.
Exactly.
Because if you think about the colon, it goes up on the right, then across, and then down on the left.
Right.
So if you're on your left side, gravity is just helping everything move along that downward path.
It makes sense.
Right, it's kind of intuitive.
Yeah, totally.
And this is especially important when you consider the ileocecal valve,
Yeah.
which is that little doorway between the small intestine and the large intestine.
Right in the lower right abdomen.
Yeah, and so sleeping on your left side can help to kind of keep things flowing smoothly in that area.
Exactly.
So speaking of flow, let's talk about heartburn.
Okay.
I know that's a big one for a lot of people,
Big one.
especially after you eat certain things or maybe you eat too close to bedtime.
Happens to the best of us.
And there was this study in 2010. It was a small study, only 10 people, but it seemed to show that sleeping on your right side actually made heartburn worse
Interesting.
than sleeping on your left side.
Okay, so,
What's the thinking behind that?
well, the idea is that when you sleep on your left side, your stomach is kind of situated below your esophagus.
Right.
So it's harder for acid to kind of splash up and cause that burning sensation.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if you flip to your right side,
Yeah.
you lose that gravitational advantage. So it's easier for the acid to come up
Dangerous.
and cause heartburn.
Okay, so it's not just our gut that might benefit from sleeping on the left side. It seems like our brains might too.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So tell us about this interstitial waist.
Okay, so this is still kind of an emerging area of research.
Yeah.
But the studies that have been done mostly in rodents have shown that side sleeping,
Okay.
both left and right, actually seem to be better at clearing out metabolic byproducts from the brain
Okay.
than back or stomach sleeping.
Wow, so it's almost like giving your brain a little cleanse while you sleep.
Yeah, think of it like this. Your brain cells are constantly working,
Right.
and they produce waste just like any other cells in the body.
Okay.
And this waste is called interstitial waste.
Okay.
And side sleeping seems to help the brain get rid of that waste more effectively.
So what are the potential long-term benefits of all this brain cleansing?
Well, that's the really exciting part.
Yeah.
Researchers think that this more efficient waste removal
Yeah.
might actually play a role in reducing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Because the buildup of certain proteins and other stuff in the brain is linked to those diseases.
Right.
And if we can help clear that stuff out,
Yeah.
it could be a really good thing.
That's huge.
It is huge, but it's important to note that we need more research, especially in humans, to really confirm these links.
Of course.
But the early findings are definitely intriguing.
Absolutely. So it seems like left side sleeping has a lot going for it.
It does.
But what about snoring?
Ah, yes, snoring.
Can this position help with that too?
It can actually.
Really?
So when you lie on your back, your tongue can relax and fall back into your throat,
Right.
which partially blocks your airway.
Which is what causes the snoring.
Exactly, and that can lead to snoring and even sleep apnea.
Right.
But sleeping on your side, particularly your left side, can help prevent that
Okay.
because it keeps your tongue from blocking the airflow.
So that's good news for everyone who shares a bed with a snorer.
It is good news, but there is a caveat here. While left side sleeping can often reduce snoring if the snoring is really bad or if you suspect sleep apnea,
Yeah.
it's really important to talk to your doctor
Right.
because side sleeping isn't a substitute for medical treatment if there's an underlying issue.
Got it. So we've talked about all the benefits of left side sleeping, but let's be real, it's not always the most comfortable for everyone.
True.
I know some people wake up with a sore shoulder if they sleep on their left side.
Yeah.
So are there any tips for making it more comfortable?
Absolutely. So first of all, don't feel like you have to force it all night long.
Okay.
Just make a conscious effort to start on your left side when you go to bed.
Right.
And if you wake up on your right side, it's okay, just flip back over.
Okay.
It's about spending more time on your left side overall.
Okay.
Not necessarily every single minute.
Got it. And what about pillows?
Pillows are your friends,
Okay.
especially when it comes to side sleeping.
Yeah.
So one of the best things you can do is put a pillow between your knees.
Okay, why is that?
It helps keep your hips aligned and prevents your top leg from pulling your spine out of whack,
Okay.
which can lead to back pain.
Oh, I see.
And hugging a pillow can also be really helpful for your top arm.
Okay.
It keeps it from falling forward and straining your shoulder.
So you're basically creating a nice little support system
Exactly.
for your whole body.
Yeah.
And I know Bill Fish, the sleep science coach that we mentioned in the article,
Yeah.
he had some interesting advice about choosing the right pillow height,
He did.
which is something I never really thought about before.
So he recommends measuring the distance between your neck and the outside edge of your shoulder.
Okay.
And then find a pillow that fills that space
Okay.
so that your head and neck are in line with your spine.
Okay.
Because a pillow that's too high or too low
Yeah.
can actually put your neck at a weird angle,
Yeah.
and that can lead to discomfort and even headaches.
Right. That makes sense.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Okay, so to recap, comfortable left side sleeping. You need a pillow that supports your neck. A firm pillow between your knees.
Check.
Make sure that knee pillow is firm enough.
Very important.
Hug a pillow for your top arm.
Yes,
And keep your arms parallel and at or below face level.
that's it.
That sounds like a recipe for a good night's sleep and a happy gut.
It is.
All right, so let's move on to back sleeping.
Back sleeping.
Now, this one's often touted as being the best for spinal alignment.
It is.
So why is that?
So when you lie on your back, your weight is distributed more evenly across your body.
Okay.
And that makes it easier to keep your spine in a neutral position.
Okay, so it takes the pressure off.
Exactly. It takes the pressure off your joints and muscles.
So where specifically does it help?
Well, it can be really helpful for people who have shoulder tension or jaw problems like TMJ
Okay.
because it minimizes the pressure on those areas.
And it can also help with tension headaches, right?
Exactly. Tension headaches often originate from tight muscles in the shoulders and neck.
Yeah.
And back sleeping can help to relax those muscles.
Okay, so if you're prone to tension, headaches, back sleeping might be a good option.
It might be.
And it sounds like it can also help with chronic pain from old injuries or conditions like hip pain, knee pain, arthritis, bursitis, even fibromyalgia.
That's right, because back sleeping minimizes compression and allows your body to rest in a more elongated position,
Yeah.
which can really help to ease discomfort.
So for people dealing with those kinds of issues, back sleeping could be a real game changer.
It could.
It could.
The article even suggests that it might help with a stuffy nose.
Really?
Yeah, or sinus congestion because your head is slightly elevated
Interesting.
compared to lying flat on your side or stomach.
So how can we optimize back sleeping?
Okay, so if you want to get the most out of back sleeping, there are a few things you can do.
Okay.
First of all, use a pillow under your knees.
Okay.
This helps maintain the natural curve of your spine and protects your lower back.
Okay, good to know.
You also want to sleep with your legs spread about hip width apart and your arms out to the sides like you're making a goalpost.
Oh, goalpost.
Yeah.
Okay.
This helps to distribute your weight evenly and prevents you from rolling over.
Okay.
And it also serves as a gentle reminder to stay on your back if you're trying to break the habit of side or stomach sleeping.
Right.
And of course, your head pillow is important.
Right.
You want one that supports the natural curve of your neck without tilting your chin down towards your chest.
So not too high, not too low.
Exactly.
Just right.
Just right. Goldilocks pillow.
Goldilocks pillow.
And if you have heartburn or sinus issues, you might want to try elevating your head even further.
Okay. How do you do that?
You can use a wedge pillow,
Okay.
or you can just raise the head of your bed by about 6 inches.
Okay. And the article even mentions some specific wedge pillow brands if people are interested.
Yeah, they mentioned Innovision Miracle Wedge, MedSlant, and Postera,
Okay.
and they gave some details about their features and prices.
Cool.
Yeah.
So lots of options out there.
Lots of options.
All right, so we've covered left side sleeping and back sleeping,
Yep.
which leaves us with the position that the article called the position to minimize,
Minimize, yes.
stomach sleeping.
Stomach sleeping.
So why is this one so bad?
So the main reason why experts advise against stomach sleeping is that it puts a lot of strain on your back and neck.
Yeah, okay.
When you lie on your stomach, most of your weight is concentrated in your torso,
Right.
and that forces your spine to arch unnaturally, which can lead to pain and discomfort.
So it's like you're constantly trying to bend backwards.
Yeah, it's not good for your spine.
Yeah.
And while stomach sleeping can help keep your airways open for some people who snore or have mild sleep apnea,
Right.
it's not the best solution.
Okay.
Side sleeping is a much better alternative because it offers the same benefit without the spinal strain.
So if you're a stomach sleeper and you're trying to break the habit, are there any tips for making it a little less damaging?
There are a few things you can try, but the ultimate goal should be to transition to side or back sleeping.
Right.
So if you must sleep on your stomach, try using a very thin pillow or no pillow at all.
Okay.
This will help reduce the angle of your neck.
Okay.
And you can also try putting a pillow under your pelvis
Okay.
to help align your spine a little better.
Okay. And what about arm position?
So try not to tuck your arms under your head
Okay.
because that can cause numbness, tingling, or pain,
Okay.
and it can also put stress on your shoulders.
So what should you do with your arms?
Try putting them in a goalpost position like we talked about for back sleeping.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it helps keep everything in a more neutral alignment.
So basically, when you're on your stomach, your body is just fighting against gravity.
It is.
It's not a natural position for restful sleep.
Exactly.
So we've covered the main sleep positions, left side, back, and stomach.
We have.
But ultimately, it seems like the most important thing is to find what works best for you
Absolutely.
and what allows you to get a good night's sleep.
Right.
So what are your final thoughts on all of this?
Well, I think it's fascinating how something as simple as our sleep position can have such a big impact on our health.
It really is.
And I think it's worth experimenting a little to see what feels best for you
Yeah,
and to pay attention to how you feel when you wake up.
right.
If you're waking up with aches and pains or you're feeling stiff or tired,
Yeah,
it might be time to try a different position.
right. And if you're really struggling to get a good night's sleep,
Yeah,
don't hesitate to talk to your doctor
absolutely.
because chronic insomnia can have some serious consequences for your health.
It can.
All right, so to wrap up our deep dive, it seems like left side sleeping might be the winner for gut health.
Yeah, it seems to have the most benefits.
Back sleeping is great for spinal alignment.
Yep.
And stomach sleeping is best avoided.
As much as possible.
But ultimately, comfort and support are key.
Absolutely.
So find what works for you and sleep well.
Sleep well.
So tonight, when you're getting ready for bed, I want you to think about how you usually sleep
Yeah,
and maybe try something different.
experiment a little.
Yeah. See if it makes a difference in how you feel,
I love it.
not just when you wake up, but throughout the day.
It's a small change.
Yeah,
That can make a big difference.
it really can. So pay attention to your sleep position.
Yes,
It could be the key to feeling your best.
absolutely.
Sweet dreams, everyone.
Sweet dreams.